And it's also crucial. Ooh. What up, y'all? It's Sam at Then Can Designs here with another video to help your small business reach its big goals. In today's video, I'm going to give you seven tips to get your small business's website on the front page of Google. This is for my innovators, my future makers, and my risk takers. If that sounds like you, stick around. I guarantee you're going to learn something you want to hear in this one. Let's do this. Let me start off by apologizing for the clickbaity title that I have. I know I'm probably not going to get you to the front page of Google here, but don't click off the video yet. What I'm going to give you is some sound advice that you can live by, and it's a good starting place because we all have to start somewhere, right? You have a website for your small business now, hopefully, or you're thinking about it and you're like, well, how the heck am I supposed to get to the front page of Google? Today, what we're really going to be talking about is search engine optimization, SEO for short. There's two things that should always be in the back of your mind when you're thinking of search engine optimization. That Google is a robot that's doing its best to crawl the web, and two, that humans are still reading your content. So we have to strike the balance between appeasing the robots and appeasing the humans. I know, it's a delicate balance, and that's why SEO is such a hard game. But the 7 tips that I've laid out in front of you are a nice basis, a good foundation for building the SEO of your website and hopefully working your way up to that front page of Google. Tip number 1, keywords. Keywords are the key. See what I did there? Now, you may not know what a keyword is, so let me help you out. You know what a keyword is. Every time you go into Google and you type something into the little box, that's a keyword. Let's think of an example. Let's say you're looking up a dentist in your area. You look up dentist, Prineville. When you hit enter, Google starts to think. It has an algorithm that decides who should be at the top of the list. Obviously, it should be giving you dentists and not gorillas, and it should be giving you people in Prineville and not, Kazakhstan. Google's smart enough to figure that out. And if you put dentist Salem, it's going to know whether you're in New Hampshire or Oregon. But there are different kinds of keywords, and I'm not going to dive too deep into keywords right now, but what you need to do is you need to think about what are people going to be looking up when they look for my website. And you can start off with real simple keyword research. You can just type it into Google yourself and see what pops up. And if you scroll down far enough, you'll get to a point where it says related searches. Follow that and keep going from there. There's also something called Google Keyword Planner, and it's worth checking out if you want to do your own search engine optimization. Later on, I'll make a video that's solely dedicated to keywords, so we'll leave it at that. Tip number 2, optimize your content. Google's looking for specific things. It's looking really for 2 things. Okay, it's looking for a lot of things, but let's say it's looking for 2 things right now. It's looking for high quality content, and it's looking for some sense of regularity. If you have a bunch of blog posts when you start up your website, that's great. Google's going to see that and it's going to be happy. But if you don't follow that up with more posts down the road, it's going to look like you're dead to Google. You never want to be dead to Google. Keep your site alive by posting content to it regularly. A little blog post with useful content can show Google that you're alive, and it can drive traffic to your site. Now let's get to the technical stuff with tip number 3. Use your header tags properly. If you've never built a website before, you may have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Header tags are these things, H1, H2, H3, that live inside of the HTML of your website. Now, for search engine optimization purposes, you want to have one H1 and one H1 only. And it's also crucial for your keyword to be in that H1 header tag, and it should be at the top of the page. So you want to think about the structure. Whatever the title of your page should be your H1, maybe a little bit of text. Then you should have H2, and then you can have some H3s as some subheaders throughout the article. It's really crucial that you keep track of the structure to appease the robots that control search engine optimization. Tip number 4, loading speed. Nobody wants to go to a site that takes forever to load. We all know that. But what you might not know is that the robots feel the same way. If Google's little crawler comes along and notices that your site is slow, then it's going to give you a bad rating. So even though you, Dentist A, has the same or maybe even better content than Dentist B, because your site's slower, Google will give them a better ranking. Not cool, but it makes sense. I mean, we want to have a good experience on the internet. So we really want to optimize our sites as best we can. There's a lot of tools out there, and I think one of the best ones is GT Metrics. A lot of people use it. One of the top pointers that it usually highlights is making sure that your images are optimized. Now, I plan on making a video on that later and actually showing you how to optimize your images. But to sum it up briefly, you want to reduce the file size and reduce the quality, but you want to do it in a way that doesn't tarnish the quality of the user experience. So it's a delicate balance. Another thing that you have to think about while you're trying to optimize for search engines. Tip number 5, alternative text, or as the kids call it, alt text. Anytime you post an image on your site, hopefully optimized if you're listening to the last tip, you want to make sure that it includes an alt text tag. Now you may be wondering, what the heck is that? Well, initially these were for people that have difficulty seeing, and that's awesome. If you're using a screen reader, it'll tell you what the picture is on the site, and so it's always nice to just take a second while you upload a picture to think of those people and to put something that's descriptive. But if you want to also appease the robots, you can somehow include your keyword in there while still also being nice to the person that has difficulty seeing, because remember, they're the ones that are actually going to use this. So for me, I always just leave a quick little several word descriptive alt tag on my photos, and then I feel a little bit better about them when I upload them. Tip number 6, 2 hands, use social media. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of social media, as you've heard me say before. I don't think it's enough for you to only have social media for your small business. You need your website, that hub. I talked about this in the last video. But you can use social media to drive traffic to your site. You get your users, your subscribers, your customers to like you on Facebook, and then you get them to your page where we can convert them. How do we get them to put a little bit of money in your pocket? Because at the end of the day, you are running a business. So that means you need to get paid, people. Let's make it happen. Using social media is a great way to drive people to your website. And it really leads to our final tip. Number 7. Use internal and external links to drive SEO. Links are usually those little things on the internet that are a different color. They used to be blue and underlined. Remember those days? Remember Netscape? Those hyperlinks, as we used to call them, we usually just call them links these days, are so crucial for SEO because it shows Google that everything's interwoven. I want you to first focus on the internal links on your site. Let's start by thinking of your website at the home page, okay? So you have this home page, and it's like the banks of a river, all right? So your home page is right here. You come in, and what you want it to do is you want it to flow out to the other pages. And in this example, it's going to flow pretty fast to other pages. Maybe you have an about page or a team page. You have a contact page. You have a services page. Maybe you have like a testimonials page, right? All great things. Google likes to see this. And you want to make sure that you have it linked throughout your homepage so it's very easy for the robots to see how to get to other parts of your site. Now, keep going. On that services page, maybe each service has its own page. Maybe you have a locations page. All of this branching is helping Google see what your website really looks like and how it can point people in the right direction when they have a question online. Google's a bit of a matchmaker. Google wants to make sure you're the perfect match for that certain somebody typing into the search box. And you can help it by including plenty of internal links on your site. Don't overdo it, but find that natural balance. Now, another important aspect of using links for SEO are external links. It's always good for you to link out to reputable websites so that you can show that you are interwoven amongst this interweb that exists. But notice that I said reputable. We do not want to just send links out to everywhere, and you kind of want to keep it relevant. So if you were, say, a web designer, it would be good to lead off to blogs or articles that are about web design, and, for me, maybe on things about small business. These are the keywords that I'm trying to hit. So it would make sense to link to articles and websites that talk about similar topics. Now, the gold of SEO are backlinks. That's when somebody finds your content so useful that they link back to your website. Oh, that is the gold, folks. So, we want to see how we can do that. And really, the only way to do that organically is to just make great content and put yourself out there. Connect with people and say like, hey, you mind posting a link to my blog post on your website? And you never know, it might work. And that's the gold, folks. You might not need it to rise the ranks, but it sure will help. And if you're wondering, well, I've heard of services that don't cost that much that'll do all this stuff for me. Well, they exist. And I guarantee you, if they don't cost that much a month, you're going to get what you pay for. Just like in the previous video where I said you get what you pay for when you go with an agency, as in you should get a really good experience because you're paying a ton of money. If you're paying somebody probably in a different country not that much a month to handle your SEO, you're probably not going to get that much results. A true SEO plan is going to cost a lot of money because the person doing it is doing a lot of work or using really expensive tools. There's basically two ways to generate search engine optimization. A lot of money or a lot of time. You have to decide, what do you want to invest? In conclusion, we have covered 7 topics for how to get your website to the front page of Google. Are you going to get there tomorrow? No. But if you work at these things meticulously over time, you can rise the ranks. Find your keywords, plan them out, optimize your website to include those keywords with high quality content. Make sure you keep your website alive by posting stuff to it frequently. Properly use header tags. Improve your loading speed, particularly by optimizing photos. Use those alt tags so that people that use screen readers will have a better experience on your website and the robots can understand what the pictures are about. Try to drive traffic through social media and use internal and external links to drive traffic to your website and from your website so that you are shown to Google to be interwoven into the interweb. Ultimately, this takes a lot of work and a lot of time to do yourself. And if you're watching this channel, you're probably a small business owner, a creator, or an entrepreneur, and you do not have time to do any of this stuff. But maybe you have enough time to do a little bit of that stuff. And so I encourage you to do that. And if you don't, I encourage you to reach out to somebody that does. Because even though it will cost a decent chunk of change a month to have somebody do this stuff for you, it'll help. And a lot of this stuff has to do with the beginning. And it just actually has to do with a different mindset. And so that's why one of the reasons why at Tunetank Designs, my web design company, I really focus on optimizing for search engines from the get-go. And I have kind of an add-on layer where I just add a little bit more juice. I like to call it SEO boost. A lot of web designers call it that. It's a boost because it takes time to really build that SEO presence up out the gate. But what I also try to provide is just a little bit of coaching because, like I said, none of this is worthwhile if you don't keep it alive. Google wants to be that matchmaker, but it wants to know that you're going to be what that person typing in the search box is looking for. And if you haven't posted anything since your website went up a year ago, Google ain't swiping right for you, honey. Let's try to do our best to optimize for search engines and let's rise the ranks of Google's so that we can grow your small business to reach its big goals. And if you're ready to design a website, maybe with a little bit of that SEO boost game, head over to thencandesigns.com right now where I can help design or redesign your website for your small business today. If you found the video useful, hit the like button below. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel because there'll be plenty of videos about growing your small business through an online presence coming soon. And if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, head down to that comment section and let me know what you're thinking. And before I sign off today, I just want to remind everybody to not be complacent. We only got one shot at this thing called life. Never settle for complacency. Until next time.